What's up, one and all? This is the Peace Dealer, and welcome to your Jupiter in Scorpio webinar. Let's get this show on the road. Thank you for your patience. I was actually ready. I just wanted to chill. I specifically waited a good 20 minutes. I was gonna go live a bit earlier, but I was just like, nah, let me just chill. And now the moon is 15 degrees Cancer. Crazy how that works. Actually, it was 15 degrees Cancer a little before. But yeah, before I go into this webinar right now, keep in mind that Venus is on the North Node exactly. And yeah, Mars is conjunct Mercury in Virgo. So your life is changing right now. And like your life constantly goes through changes, but the most significant shift of the whole year is happening to you right now. You may not come into awareness of that until Libra season during the sextile because you're busy doing the work that's changing your life. So keep that in mind. But just be mindful of what you're putting your heart into, as this is all leading into Jupiter and Scorpio. I didn't specify, but yeah, I'm not really doing any of the mini readings until after the webinar. So just be patient. If you don't get a report from me, I won't have forgotten you. I will get to you. Some of you sent it to the peacedealer@gmail.com, and some of you sent it to, of course, the Mystical Recruits Gmail. So as if you sent it, I will surely email you back. I mean, unless you're waiting for like a whole month, but I'll definitely get to it after the webinar. It'll definitely be like a few relevant sentences that will really keep in mind what Jupiter and Scorpio is going to be for your chart. I think I've done maybe like 2 or 3 predictions, just randomly, but I will get to it after the chart. And if you have any questions during the webinar, make sure you save it for after, when I open up the lines for Q&A. Make sure that the questions you ask are not necessarily about your chart, because that's what the mini reading will be for. So keep your questions more around, the transit and what you can definitely gain from this amazing period, which we are entering into a level of depth that most people will never really have understood. If you're born in '94, you're going to be experiencing a Jupiter return. So those of you who have Jupiter in Scorpio, even if it's before '94, definitely pay attention, as you're set to experience a relaunch of your wisdom and your abundance. And when you experience this Jupiter return, this is literally you recharge. It's like putting your phone back into the charger, and you're going on a new transit of exploration, expansion, and luck. So with that being said, I want to make sure there's nothing else I need to say before we start. We might have a break. I'll see if I can, yeah, I'll see if we can have like a small break, maybe a nice 5-minute break. But other than that, yeah. Are you guys ready for Jupiter in Scorpio? This is the grounds for a deeper exploration of your own sexuality and a look into the core of what you're truly made of. All right, let's do this. Let us do this. Make sure you save it. All right. Oops. Jupiter in Scorpio, the grand revelation. I call this the grand revelation because one thing that Scorpio is very amazing at doing is really uncovering unconscious influences and going to the core of what motivates a person to do something, or really getting a raw, deep understanding of the complex motivations of someone's life. And in that regard, because of the complexity of what's involved, especially through Scorpio, this is what makes this a zodiac sign of secrets and taboos, the things that we have to surrender so that we can come into the light of Sagittarius and go on our grand adventure. So with Jupiter in the picture and mix, Jupiter is known as a planet of expansion. It's known for the luck that it gives, as it is marked by Zeus, the king of the gods, or Roman, no, not Roman. But yeah, Zeus, the king of the gods. But one thing that's going to help you understand how to see Jupiter is you don't want to look at Jupiter as just someone or something that will just make everything that it goes around bigger. You don't want to see Jupiter as something that will just put a magnifying glass on the deeper issues of your heart. You want to see Jupiter, especially as it enters Scorpio, as an alchemist and someone who's going to transmute your energies and flip switches within you. Jupiter is going to be your source of evolution and a sign of transformation. There are very profound implications that occur whenever outer planets shift from Libra to Scorpio, because Libra are the archangels who protect the gateway to the gods. This is analogous to cherubs and archangels having to have flaming swords guard the Garden of Eden, which is in real life indicated by your kundalini being dormant as the swords block it, so that the honey and milk can raise your inner fire. Jupiter in Scorpio is going to give you the grandest revelation ever. And that grand revelation is that you are a supernatural being. The grand revelation is that you are a multi-dimensional individual. Once Jupiter goes into Sagittarius in 2019, we're going to redefine and revolutionize the awareness of multidimensionality. It's going to be some of the funnest shit ever in life. But Jupiter in Scorpio is where you have to go through the profound revelation of the fact that you're a supernatural being and the fact that there is a spiritual war to keep this suppressed from you. The awareness of your supernatural nature and the suppression of your parapsychological ability. Once again, Jupiter here is an alchemist. And if Jupiter needs to act like Pluto or Saturn and give you challenge, it could actually be very negative for you. Which is why you don't necessarily want to treat this energy like it's just a good luck charm and that you'll just have luck in matters of intimacy and you'll be able to transform with great abundance. This Jupiter in Scorpio transit is going to add a layer of darkness and depth to everyone's hearts. So this may really expand upon depression that occurs, because in the revelation of yourself as a supernatural being, you have to shed your mortal self. You have to shed the you that literally is like not true, which is the lies that the government and these higher dark beings have force fed down your throats. You need to go back in time to 2014 when Saturn was in Scorpio, because Saturn is preparing you for Jupiter. Saturn just finished in Saturn is finishing in Sagittarius, really preparing and constructing with the crew the frequency and the programming for multidimensionality, so that when Jupiter goes there, we expand on it. Saturn has done heavy work. Everyone got their asses kicked 2014. Every single person got their asses handed to them in 2014, because Saturn was forcing you to see into the importance of your sexual purity, so that you have to refine your intent and make it as pure as is possibly possible. I just said possibly possible. If you noticed in 2014, you got in a huge trouble whenever you acted off of intent that was not impure, especially when it regarded decisions in sex or relationships. And Saturn in Scorpio taught you personally that no matter how pure you think you are, or no matter how good of a person you think you are, you really suck. So like Saturn in Scorpio taught everybody that you suck, and you suck really bad. And yeah, you might have actually accomplished things that are better than other people, but still, if you don't, regardless of your comparison to other people who suck, you still have parts of you that really suck and you need to work on. It was a very, very minute few people who are probably already Saturnian to begin with, who really evolved through this transit. So don't worry, because Saturn taught us how we sucked, but now that Jupiter's in Scorpio, Jupiter's actually going to show you how you're more than amazing. You're a supernatural being. You're a multi-dimensional individual that is aware of different dimensions in one moment in time through space. And psychological tactics, or rather a psychological analysis and awareness of your experience, is going to bless and influence every situation that you enter. So you're walking into every situation with more depth. We are going to witness some of the most foul whistleblowing ever. Anyone who has screenshots is going to reveal it, because either they're forced to, or either people finally play their hand. You're going to see Scorpio make its move, especially in the Divine RPG. So really keep this in mind. Yes, the good part of this is that you will be revealed as a supernatural being, and that sounds uplifting, but all of the shortcomings that you have decided not to release and transcend from, especially when Saturn gets into Capricorn, you're definitely going to be in a position where you have to not only answer for it, but you're being completely exposed. So this is where that expansion of that which is hidden to you can blow out of proportion, and hidden secrets just come to light. all bad. But regardless, this is going to be very amazing because the greatest blessing of this Jupiter and Scorpio transit is many people around the world have lost their ability to connect intimately. And this really came a lot with Saturn and Scorpio. Many people were damaged, many people were hurt with the Saturn Libra transit too, 2010. And that intimate spark, like a lot of you can't even fall in love again. Like you might like someone, but you've been hurt so much, or you just don't expect anything anymore. Like you're not even trying to be in love. You're not even trying to connect with people. You don't even want to risk getting hurt, and you don't even want to risk, having to get betrayed. So a transit like this, through the evolution of your awareness, is going to re-spark that desire for intimacy, is going to spark that ability to connect with people on a very deep and authentic level, to where every interaction you have, you're able to connect with someone as if they were your soulmate. Those of you who master this transit, this is what you'll develop. Well, that being said, we are finishing off the Jupiter and Libra transit. And this Jupiter and Libra transit is one of the most important transits of all time. It is what is taking the last 6 years that we have worked so ridiculously hard for, building on our character and being, that we can finally bring this to the realm of the gods and goddesses. What I mean by this is, it's not that Jupiter is just in Libra and it's deciding to move to Scorpio. Jupiter in Libra right now is the cumulative effect of its transit that it has sparked since it was in Aries come 2010, I believe. So I want all of you to really go back in time and remember where you were in 2010. I had just moved to El Paso, Texas, at the very end of 2009. So where were you? And how did you feel? I can imagine everyone was definitely at different places. And 2010, Jupiter was in Pisces. So it was actually 2011 where, oh, hold on. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So it looks like it's more 2011 where we experience a Jupiter in Aries transit. But regardless, 2011 is also very important because Jupiter in Pisces led into the Jupiter in Aries that started this cycle off. But you really want to take some time to figure out where exactly you were, or what you were doing when Jupiter was in Aries. Basically top of 2011. I was gonna turn 21 in June of that year. Oh snap. And Jupiter in Aries did much to spark an important sense of your character and your identity. This is why Jupiter in Libra is so important. because all the work you did in 2011 is manifesting right now. The work on your character you have built is expressing itself in the quality of the partnerships that you are manifesting. And this is how important this is. For example, 2011, 2010 was when I had just started really taking music a little seriously. This was before I had made my first mixtape, all right? As opposed to now, where I've developed my character as an artist so much, I have several projects out. I've completely mastered the basic level of my style, and things that were very difficult for me to do 2011, it's clockwork for me to do now. It's not even close to being hard. Really keep this in mind. The Astro family, I feel you. I feel you. To their defense, I came on a little bit later, but I really do thank y'all for your patience. It means more than you know. But yeah, regardless, I want you to take that concept and keep it in mind, because it has much to do with the revelation of the next 6 years. Because just like from 2011 to 2016, you've awakened or you've evolved, you're now going to go through another 6-year cycle from Jupiter in Libra to Jupiter in Pisces. And I hate to sound repetitive, but it's very, very, very important that you really ask yourself, what kind of world were you in? What kind of world were you in when Jupiter was in Aries? Uranus was in Pisces around there. So now it's in Aries, and a whole lot of the evolution of your identity, which was born, you can say, is now ready to evolve to the next level. So keep that in mind. When Jupiter was in Taurus, you started to build values unconsciously. In Gemini, you were enlightened to the truth of you. In Cancer, this really helped you feel at a deeper depth. Jupiter in Cancer was actually to evolve your psychic ability so you can feel vibrations more. And then Jupiter went into Libra, and you really instilled passion. This was to prepare for the North Node that's there now. But also, Libra, Jupiter and Leo and Jupiter and Virgo was tough. But we got through it. Jupiter and Virgo is what motivated us to be more aware of how we can change our lives. And, you know, now Jupiter and Libra is the evolution of us auspicious relationships. So I'm going to say this one more time. Some of you met your twin flame 2011, 2012. Some of you met your soulmate like around that time. Some of you met very key people around that time, and you had a falling out with them, or you don't talk to them anymore. Jupiter and Libra is where they all come back. Jupiter, the end of Jupiter and Libra into Jupiter and Scorpio is where you actually understand and gain further closure over a lot of these relationships. All right. Some of your soulmates were like, all right, I'm just gonna reveal myself now, but I'll see you in 6 years, motherfucker. All right. So really keep this in mind. Like if you try and run away from this person, they're going to manifest in a new person who has the same energy. So you won't be able to escape it. So there's going to be an evolution. And because we're in the last decade of this Jupiter and Libra transit, which is opposing Uranus, this Jupiter-Uranus opposition is what can make a relationship manifest instantly, like that, out of nowhere. All right? You want to know, you already know who you've already met your soulmate. if any of you are kind of feeling, and I don't even mean just soulmate as much as like auspicious partners, very key people in your life who you are meant to be with. Okay. Um, a lot of you need to really change your mind about how you see this, because people easily get selfish and they feel like just because their soulmate is in their life, they're supposed to be romantically involved. And we don't have that luxury. A lot of you are getting with soulmates for spiritual work. A lot of you are getting with twin flames for spiritual work, not for romance. That's why some of your soulmates are already with other people. That's why the romance may not be working. You have to get out your feelings and really remember what's your destiny. This is what you're here to fulfill with your soulmate and other auspicious relationships. So you're going to see a lot of these people come back, and you're going to see that they align with the work you do, or they decide to go their separate ways. You have to be in a willing position to compromise, because this is what Jupiter and Libra is all about: conflict resolution, and actually you being able to be at a level head with everyone. This is what will develop your character. The rawness and spark that was birthed in Aries is now polished, and you're able to develop your style for the first time in 6 years in a way that will finally take what was flawed about your self-expression and add the charm that it needs and that everyone secretly desires. This will instill a brand new social code, which you already see permeating in your reality. There's so much shifts because character is developing, because relationship constructs are developing. There's gender fluidity. You can't necessarily say certain things anymore. There's new faux pas. It's literally for the next 6 years going to change the language we say, what's socially acceptable, what's fair and what's not fair, and what determines those rules is when we're in Jupiter and Capricorn, when we're in Jupiter and Aquarius. So what you need to know, guys, is you need to celebrate. We've done the hard work. There are people who have died. There are people who have not made it here. And we need to have some kind of moment of silence for them. Because now that Jupiter's in Scorpio, God and Goddess are taking the wheel. Now we can let go and be experienced. And this is what happens whenever any planet transits from Scorpio to Pisces. When it transits from Aries to Virgo, it's the hardest work, because you need to harness the energy of these planets to really hash out the inner parts of you. Everything that's after Libra is everything outside of you. It's relationships and the evidence of your attitude reflected in your beliefs and your spirituality and your place and standing in the world. The most important part about Jupiter and Libra is it is harvesting the divine partnership activations that were launched when Jupiter was in Aries. So when Jupiter was in Aries, there was a very important understanding of how important you are, and that spark that happened to everyone on a spiritual level. Spiritual meaning, just enhanced awareness. This is what made you initially aware of your twin flame spark and connections. This is what made you aware of who your divine partner is. Okay? And you clearly may not have been ready. The reason why I say may or may not have is there was a rare few of people who were ready. People of the older generation who have already kind of done their Jupiter work and Saturn work. So Whereas we were beginning to spark, they were closing out and reaping in. They were manifesting the divine partnerships in 2011. They're living out the happily ever after now that Jupiter's in Libra. All right. For most people because majority people still have more soul work to do, divine partnerships are things that everyone wants, but it's incredibly difficult to manifest. So stuff like soulmate relationships and twin flame relationships, people are completely irrational about because they think that it's something that they can manifest like that. But humanity hasn't even mastered Cancer. Humanity as a collective has not even mastered the empathy, the basic empathy needed to care about other people's feelings, which is why we can literally have bullshit corporate reasons to have people starve. All right, because we need to make money somehow. All right, so you have to understand, manifesting a divine partnership is like getting into an Ivy League school. Harvard does not admit like over 50% of its applicants. I don't even think it admits 30% of its applicants. Divine partnerships can take a life to manifest. So a lot of you can get really impatient and you're having the complete wrong. This is like the partnership everyone desires. So, I mean, it's like winning an Olympic gold medal. You can't just decide, I want to be an Olympian, and then get mad at the universe that you can't win gold medals because your training isn't good enough. These people train their whole life. These people train very rigorously. A lot of people want divine. Okay, thank you, Jay. 5.4% is the Harvard acceptance rate. A lot of people want divine partnerships, you know what I'm saying? But they put less than 12 hours of work into manifesting it. And they're very self-conscious and insecure, and they don't want to do the spiritual work, but they want the partner of their life. So you have to understand, manifesting something like this is supposed to be difficult. That's what makes the struggle and journey worth it. Not everyone is super enlightened, and everyone gets humbled when they realize, hey, maybe it takes a lot more work to manifest the partnership that I really want, since I'm sharing a life with somebody. And of course, the activation of higher vibrational love through this transit is going to lead into a quantum art and Renaissance age. Congratulations. We're in the beginning of, well, I don't want to say the beginning, but we're further entering the Renaissance age. A lot of music is trash nowadays, but now the artists who have, over the past 6 years, the new generation of artists who have over the past 6 years showed that they have talent and substance, they're now ready to lead humanity into the Renaissance age of art. So this is at least good. This is going to be reflected in the crappy times that we're going to enter. And you know how when people go through depression, art and music is more somber and meaningful? This is what's going to lead to that, okay? Other than that, I really do mean it when I say, for those of you who have busted your ass ever since 2011, wondering if this work has been in vain, before October 10th, you will have manifested a physical manifestation of your divine partner, where you're not going to be worried about, who is this? All right? Where you're not going to be worried about, is it this person or not? You need to understand this is manifesting because now you have developed your character to where you can show up in your relationships. I know a lot of people thought that you could have shown up because some of you showed up Jupiter in Aries, and that other person may not have shown up. Some of you couldn't have shown up even if you wanted to. Like, some of you showed up in Jupiter Aries, but you did not learn the lessons you needed to have the relationship go anywhere. You weren't even, some of you weren't even in a position to have a healthy relationship. Even though your intention was pure, now you do, way more than ever. And it's a transit like Jupiter and Scorpio that's going to reveal quite profoundly how much you have grown. This is where I say you're going to pass the driver's seat to God. You're going to pass the driver. You're going to let Goddess take the driver's seat, and this reflective energy is going to really have you understand how divine you truly are. Okay? Keep this in mind. It's like you do the social work in Jupiter and Libra, and then Jupiter and Scorpio is when you start to see the results and the manifestation of the work you did in these partnerships. So one thing that's very important about Jupiter and Libra, be very mindful of the people you're partnering to work on right now. All right? Anyone who you've done a project with, anyone who you're working with right now, this is who you're taking with you into Jupiter and Scorpio to transform your bond and reach success. Because what's the second house of Libra? Scorpio. So Jupiter and Scorpio is going to manifest the work that you've done from September 9th to October 10th. And this Jupiter and Libra transit is the type that intensifies more until the very end. So we're going to start this Jupiter and Scorpio transit off with a bang. And from the get-go, once it starts on the 11th, there's going to be a galactic and collective evolution of psychic power. This evolution of psychic power is going to incorporate all the skeletons in your closet, because in order for you to access your intuition, you can't have any shame and you can't have any guilt. But see what happens for even the most skilled of psychics, because this is an energy that they permeate through the veil. I'm sorry, my inner Virgo is triggering. I can't have this. I can't have this. How dare this not be symmetrical? All right, let's go back. So yeah, you need to make sure your chakras are clear. And not only are your chakras clear, you have to make sure your Kundalini is risen, and you have to make sure you're at a place where you're at a very core level. You are real with yourself. One of the greatest blessings of Scorpio is that it destroys you and breaks you down, so that this is why the egoic principle that is carried by Aries is transformed by Scorpio, because it'll break you down to refine your intent. So a lot of you, even if you're highly advanced, there's frequencies that make you feel guilty for stepping into your power. These are going to be shed. The evolution of your psychic power throughout this entire transit is going to be felt as a deeper confidence within yourself. And the hard work you did when Jupiter was in Leo to express your creative talents more will come into such a deeper mastery. You'll be able to surprise yourself with all the depth you didn't even know you had. So, for example, when Jupiter was in Gemini, this is when I started freestyling. I started busting raps just like that, just to let me know I could be a pro. And then it went into Leo 2 years later, and the last thing I worried about was getting paper. My freestyle flow tremendously advanced because I put my heart into all of my acts. Jupiter and Leo added melody to my swag. And that's why in the future, I'll secure the bag. And now once it goes into Scorpio, this exuberance that I developed while it was in Leo will reach such a powerful depth that I will gain mastery. And this is indicative of how you've grown too. All right, when Jupiter was in Gemini, I was nervous. I couldn't just freestyle. I was too busy thinking about what the hell I was gonna say. It wasn't until Jupiter was in Leo that I just had enough courage in my heart to just speak my heart. And this is when I broke through, and it was like, wow, I can actually like freestyle, where before I had like issues, or I got in my own way. What helped me break through getting in my own way? Jupiter had to be in Cancer. I had to feel the emotion. All right, I couldn't be a robot anymore, even though I'm still a robot. But Jupiter will go into Scorpio and add that oil. Do you get me? This is going to add that sexual charisma. So now you can take your skills and your talents and you can be seductive with it. The dark side revival is talking about the reawakening of your seductive side, that if you were born after the 70s, probably got taken out of you during high school or during college. Not even because any peer pressure or bullying, but actually because of the way you were taught. It was really more the schoolwork and the regimented structure of how you had to learn that kind of drained you of your sexual energy and conditioned you not to respond more authentically to how you feel sexually. I mean, after all, if you touched someone in school, you would get suspended, maybe expelled. So this is going to revive, okay? And this is why if you didn't do the hard work in 2014 to refine your sexual intent, you're going to be addicted to sex and you could ruin your life. Because Jupiter in Scorpio is going to take those who've had issues with dry spells, is going to take those who've had issues connecting. It's not that you can't have sex with people, for those of you who have issues with that, it's that you can't connect intimately with people because there's blocks in your heart that stop you from feeling, you know, vulnerable enough. Some of you don't realize you're actually very sexy. You're actually very charismatic, but your soul may not like the person that your spirit is trying to connect with. And it's more an internal clash. Like some of you, you may like someone and hate someone and not know why. And this is what's going to be aligned so that now you don't have issues connecting with people on an intimate level. Now, where it was hard to actually connect and have sex with people, and I don't mean like one night stands, I mean like deep sex, it's actually easy because now at a galactic and collective level, people are more real and people are more authentic, and they're not going to really put fronts because we're all slowly awakening. This can be a horrible thing with the trine to Neptune, because if you don't have the control, if you didn't learn the lesson of Saturn and Scorpio tried to teach you that it doesn't matter if you can have all the sex in the world with all the girls in the world, you have to have sexual discipline to where you're not having sex with someone you don't love. You're not having sex with someone who you don't respect, and you understand that this is a sacred practice. Because Jupiter in Scorpio is going to make this so easy for you to take advantage of. That's the dark side of Jupiter. It expands things and it gives you more of the opportunity. But we want to see Jupiter as the alchemist that's going to transmute all your nervousness. Jupiter is literally going to help explain why you're nervous in social interactions, and this is going to give you so much courage because it's just going to make sense. Scorpio is complete transformation. So this is a transit where you can literally turn from an Urkel to a Jalil. Does that make sense? All right. Urkel is so obliviously unaware of how he can make situations awkward, and Jalil is just so effortlessly smooth. That's a transformation that Jupiter and Scorpio is going to do for everyone. And people are going to bring out an inner sexiness with this dark side revival that they didn't even know they had. It's going to be super gangster sauce. And the development of your intuition is going to incorporate an uncanny understanding of how you're able to tap into what you sense, so that the things you reveal are that much more profound. This development of intuition for some of you is going to be so crazy that some of you are literally going to develop like a status bar. Your intuition is going to evolve to a status bar that takes a physical awareness to where it's not just something you hear in your voice. Your intuition now becomes an integrated augmented part of your reality that you can see it or feel and experience, to where it's like your intuition becomes Navi in the Legend of Zelda. Your intuition becomes like an actual status bar that will update if things happen, and you can see in front of you like, oh, someone's about to text you, and then you'll get a text. Gnarly shit. Remember, this is to ultimately reveal in a grand way that you are a supernatural, multi-dimensional being. And this is why shifts from Pisces and Aries or Libra and Scorpio are very significant, because a major part and facet of the shift is going to be so unexpected and random. Like, it's just going to be like, it's going to be so profound in a way that you wouldn't, if you're thinking of a conventional and logical way for this evolution to happen, you're going to get caught so off guard. You could literally just walk in front of someone and see them transform their face into an animal, and it will make no sense. And now you're having to question reality. Pisces, you especially, Pisces, you're going to experience this in the greatest way. You're going to question reality more so than ever. Especially those of you with Jupiter Scorpio already. So the divine partnerships that will manifest at the end of Jupiter and Libra, because what's going to happen is the divine partnerships are going to activate at the very end of Jupiter and Libra. Like, once we enter the end of September into October, the physical manifestation of the divine partnership will activate, to where some of you have been with your divine partner for over 10 years. But now the spirit of that connection will activate, and you see each other with new eyes. Some of you already feeling has come in too. So this is kind of where in Libra, you become aware of the other person. It's like, it's you! This divine partnership transformation is where you hash out your differences. And then it's like, oh my gosh, I hate you and I love you. And this is how we compromise, but it's really how you both merge. This is where you reunite, Jupiter and Scorpio. This is where you actually get together. So Jupiter and Libra is where you're aware of who they are. Jupiter and Scorpio is where you transform through the union. Let that sink in. Because this is going to be happening in the midst of the first galactic divine role-playing game, RPG. This divine RPG is brought to you by Aquarius and the cosmic galactic vibration by the Galactic Federation. This role-playing game is a cosmic simulation to usher in the advancement of God and Goddess consciousness, so that the greater order of multidimensional beings may finally integrate their higher energy down onto this lower dimension. This divine RPG, stay tuned, I'm going to make a special World War Z video, but I want to speak about it briefly because this is going to spark officially October 11th. It has already started because some people are moving a little bit quicker, but this is going to become very real, okay? This divine RPG is going to kick off by taking every Scorpio sun sign and having them make the first move. Every Scorpio sun sign will find the Capricorn establishment that they're ready to take down and go to complete war with. And it's low-key gonna be a Jupiter-Saturn war, even though they mutually sextile. So Capricorn is going to have from October to December to deal with the attack until Saturn comes back in their sign to beef up their defense. So what I'm saying is October 11th, Scorpios are going to attack Capricorn, and then Capricorn's going to hold down the fort, and then come January, the reinforcements are going to arrive, baby, and Saturn's going to enter Capricorn, and then they'll be all right, and then it'll be a more long drawn out battle. Meanwhile, Sagittarius is going to be trying to ascend, dodging Capricorn and Scorpio. So if you're in Aries, if you're a sun in Taurus, if you're a sun in Gemini, if you're a sun in Cancer, you are the 4 signs that are going to be recruited. The recruitment process ends October 11th, but you can still recruit people during the game. What's going to happen is during the first facet of this Jupiter and Scorpio transit, before Saturn goes into Capricorn, once the game starts, because loyalties are not official, you're going to have people betray and recruit other people. So once Jupiter enters Scorpio and people start to make their moves, Scorpio may come across a Taurus who's been recruited by Capricorn. And that Scorpio can get that Taurus to switch sides. Really keep this in mind, because a whole lot about how you recruit Scorpio, Capricorn, and Sagittarius, pay attention, will have much to do with your cunningness. Once Saturn goes into Capricorn, it'll be more set in place. It's going to be way harder for people to kind of like get others to betray their groups. All right. Margaret said, I think I'm a double agent using both Cap and Scorp. Very possible. It is very possible for certain signs to play both until Saturn's in Capricorn and things get too serious where you're going to have to choose. Okay. So Taurus is the defense. Capricorn, Scorpio, and Sagittarius need Taurus so that when people attack them, they have sturdy professional defenders who can tank attacks. Sagittarius is wild and crazy, baby. So even though Sagittarius needs a Taurus, they don't have any Tauruses on their squad. The average Sagittarius will have maybe 1 or 2 Tauruses, when you have to have at least 5. And that's hard because Taurus is hard to find. So Taurus is valuable. The whole selling point of Taurus is like you'll never find much more of them. So they're hard to find. And the fact that Capricorn has a lot on deck speaks a lot of how powerful Capricorn is. So Sagittarius doesn't go for Taurus. Sagittarius goes for Aries, because for Sagittarius, the best defense is offense. So Aries is the warrior. Whereas Capricorn beefs up heavy on defense because they have to hold down the fort. Sagittarius beefs up heavy on attack because they want to ascend. And this dynamic is going to play out ridiculously, guys. And it's okay if you don't see it at first, but it's going to get really ugly and really beautiful. Scorpio, of course, you'll find has a mix. And I'm going to break down this dynamic in more detail when I do the video. Capricorn does have its own HR department. Scorpio doesn't have an imperial army. They just have a revolutionary army, so their numbers are limited. But they make sure they recruit the top-notch people who can take down the top-notch people of the imperial army. People who are even rare and have the passion and are willing to die. Scorpio shit. Gemini and Cancer are now very special characters that can be recruited. Okay? Gemini is going to represent the Magi. So if you have defense for Taurus and offense for Aries, status effect and experience is going to be Gemini. If you need a genjutsu done, if you need a fire spell done, if you need a water spell done, you know, Magi's work really well with warriors. They can supplement and augment the physical attacks that the Aries is doing with magic from afar. Okay? For those of you who play Advanced Wars or Fire Emblem, you know exactly what I mean. Or just any MMORPG. And then, of course, the most important part of any unit is Cancer. So whereas Capricorn beefs up on Taurus, everyone beefs up on Cancer because Cancer is the healer, all right? But Scorpio specializes more in Cancer because they know how to transmute Cancer's energy and turn those healing spells into other energies. What I haven't revealed are the special powers that Sagittarius and Capricorn and Scorpio have. All right. They're sacred powers that make them the leaders of this. Like Scorpio is instant death, so it can instantly just end something. Capricorn is invulnerability for a period to where it's invincible. And then why do you think it's lasted so long, right? And then Sagittarius is a wild card effect that can make everything happen in its favor for one moment, but for only one moment. So I'm going to go more in depth into that in the World War Z episode, but keep that in mind. Cancer is very important and the most vulnerable because they're the ones that heal everyone. Yeah, when everyone has like low HP and health points, the Cancer will do a spell to make sure everyone instantly feels good again. That's more valuable than anything else. So you'll see Taurus defend the healers, right? Tactically, but also you know how I said Sagittarius? Most Sagittariuses won't keep Taurus because it'll slow them down. They still keep at least one or two Cancers. But it is Cancer is such a big deal that to have more than 2 clerics or high priestesses on your team or high priests is literally impossible. Because what a Cancer will do is if you're paralyzed, if you have poison, they'll heal it. If you're weak, they'll bring you back to strength. They're so incredibly rare. Even the Imperial Army that has like ties and everything, Capricorn can only manage at least 3 high priests. But then again, 2 are all you need. Like they're that powerful. So it's very rare to come across a Cancer. Very rare. That's like ready and willing to come through. Okay, that's actually unlocked their power. Well, they are the power, but yeah, it's special attainment. Leo. All right, Leo is not officially in the game, so any instance of Leo so soon is filler in like an anime where it really doesn't count. So if you use Leo, you're not going to get any experience points because they're busy fulfilling their legacy. They're going to be the main character of Divine RPG 2 that kicks off when Jupiter is in Leo, and we expand the realms of multidimensionality. Leo is like a solar beam blast that just completely demolecularizes everything in its path with love, the love from the sun. So some of you guys, all right, some of you Capricorns, some of you Scorpios, some of you Sagittariuses, somehow like know the developers of this game. So this is what I'm trying to say. Leo is not an official playable character in this game. But some of you have close connections to Aquarius to where you have Leo on your team. Like there's some Capricorns that have a Leo just on deck. And all you need is 1 Leo. Once you have more than 1 Leo, it's actually counterintuitive. It's not suggested. All right? Only Scorpio, or I'm sorry, only Sagittarius can pull that off. But you only need 1 Leo, okay? They're like your Hulk, literally. They're like your atom bomb. Do you get me? Leo was like the atom bomb of the game, the detonator, boom. All right. So some of you will find that in this divine RPG, even though Leo isn't a playable character, a rare few, we're talking like 1%, you have Leos that will be significant in this. And it's almost like cheating. Because other people who don't have Leo, they're going to be like, that's not fair. We don't have a Leo king. We don't have a Leo. What the hell? You know? We don't have a little Uzi Vert. So we don't have an Obama. All right. Right now, and Capricorn is recruited. Here's an example, by the way. Our government is Capricorn. It's represented by Capricorn. So one of the greatest recruits that our Capricorn has is a Magi, Donald Trump. He's a Gemini. He is recruited on the Capricorn side. But the nature of this divine RPG, it's not that all the Capricorn signs are bound together. Even within the Capricorn, even within the Scorpio, some clash. So don't think that all the Capricorns are there, because there's some good Capricorn, there's some bad Capricorn establishments, there's some good Scorpio revolutionaries, there's some evil Scorpio revolutionaries. Ascension all the way around is positive. So there's really no negative Sagittarius groups, because ascension is ascension is ascension. But that's a little bit about this divine RPG. Libra and Virgo are the referees. They're going to referee in 1 and 2, but they'll be playable characters along with Aquarius and Pisces in Divine RPG 3, which is when we literally go to space. So Divine RPG is this God consciousness on Earth. Divine RPG 2 is God consciousness in the sky and in the spiritual realm, in the 5th dimension. And in Divine RPG 3 is us projecting our consciousnesses out into space, into the spiritual. Or you could almost say it's the other way around. Divine RPG 1, Earth. Divine RPG 2, space. Divine RPG 3, spiritual realm. But the most important part about this Jupiter and Scorpio transit is the dark side revival. And certain vampire and demon clans are going to be revived, which is going to lead into a sub-age of darkness, which will intensify this war. The dark side is going to get a lot more powerful. And, you know, there are going to be a couple L's that the light side takes. So if you're a light worker, this is where you want to really get your grit, because it's going to get a little bit more challenging. And dark workers and dark forces are going to come for you. So for those of you who are into this light work and you're helping people, but you've wanted to really get into the more spiritual, active part of this, to where you're combating negative energies, prepare for war, my friend. Divine RPG, Aries especially, Gemini, what's up? All the fire and air signs, you're targeted. You have a hit list that was made on you in Jupiter and Libra. There are people who are going to now start to begin to come at you. And this is really a powerful opportunity for you to eradicate them. So don't fall back. Don't run away. Show yourself what you're made of. Because the opposition in darkness just runs off of illusions. They're ultimately weak. Even though some are powerful, they just go off of psychologically making you feel they're way more powerful than they are. When if you really found out the truth, oh my gosh, you would laugh at how you might have, you know what I'm saying, thought otherwise. So we are going to have some very important aspects that have much to do with the willingness of yourself to expand and express the evolution of your deeper core. The great part about this transit is very psychological, complex, habitual behaviors that have been really hard to shed because of the fixed nature of this, you'll now find they're just so easy to release and then also gain positive aspects from. This is where you can take negative behaviors and turn them into something positive. All right. Jupiter trining Neptune in Pisces is what's going to finally unify our awareness of the spiritual realm and how deeply we can feel this at unconscious and subconscious levels. For those of you with Cancer energy, especially a Jupiter in Cancer, this is going to be heavenly. You're finally going to now express and experience a heavenly fusion of how deeply you can feel. And you're going to feel this the whole transit, okay? Jupiter trine Neptune is very important. And you really want to go back to, I think, 2014 when we had a grand water trine. Because 2014, Jupiter was in Cancer and Saturn was in Scorpio and Neptune was in Pisces. So Jupiter was expanding and transmuting the quality and power of which we could feel. You know, if we didn't have Jupiter in Cancer, then it wouldn't matter how deep Jupiter brings us because you wouldn't be able to feel it. You wouldn't have the empathy or sensitivity to feel it. That's why Jupiter put you in situations during 2014 where you were broken to the core, where you had to cry, where you had to be one with your emotions so you can learn to feel again. Not so that you can be in your feelings, so that you can feel. Feeling is an application and extension of psychic ability. You don't think with your psychic power, you feel with your psychic power. That is quite possibly the most important thing you could have heard today. You don't think with your psychic power, you feel with your psychic power. So a whole lot of this energy that you expanded in 2014 was now structured with Saturn that was there. Now that Jupiter is here, you're going to really come into profound revelation of the depth that is able to be achieved when you authentically express your heart. And the sextile that it will make to Pluto will indicate very profoundly the need to open up a greater awareness of how you can transform into greatness. Because it's simultaneously trining Neptune and sextiling Pluto, the Pluto energy is what's going to ground this deep energy we feel, because if Pluto wasn't in Capricorn and it was just Jupiter trining Neptune, some people will not be high vibrational enough to feel it. Like me, it may just go over my head. The energy will still be there, but I won't really experience it on a more physical level. So Pluto is gathering this intensity, and as Saturn enters Capricorn and joins the sextile, this is what's going to give us a real, tangible, and earth-shaking experience of this spiritual psychic energy. Spiritual psychic being synonymous with psychological, psychoanalytical energy. Uranus will briefly enter Taurus, and even though they won't be directly opposite each other, we will still experience an opposition. And this opposition that Jupiter will be making to Uranus will, for that brief period, be where the dark side in your sexuality is revived, to revolutionize how you sensually express that which evokes your desire and that which keys you into great wisdom. Because one of the key words of Scorpio is wisdom. And it's the wisdom that you harness that keys you in to that which has not been said, but you can still derive knowledge from. The opposition that Jupiter will make to Uranus will very quickly shift your situation so that you're manifesting based off of what is truly authentic deep within you in ways that have never been done before. As far as personal aspects, for those of you who have any personal planets in Scorpio, then the conjunction that Jupiter will be making to those planets in your natal chart will download the personal understanding of your application of those energies and evolve it with an update. Just think of it as a firmware upgrade. So if you have Mercury in Scorpio, this is going to take the way you think and enlighten you with more genius ways to incorporate what you already know. And it's like having a real-time database of information that will key you in to auspicious. This is what adds to that luck, because you're aware of more things at once instead of being in the dark. Especially for you Scorpio moons, this Jupiter transit is going to make you very much so a vessel of this transmutational energy. And you could feel a deep soul evolution to where you can finally feel to depths that were previously blocked to you. This is just going to push forth a deeper depth, okay? The squares that Jupiter will make, or let me keep going. If it conjuncts Venus, all right, then what this is going to do, you may think that this will attract more relationships to you. Oh, the soul tracker, great question. I do not do donation tarot readings during webinars. Very great question. I do appreciate that though. If you do want to donate, you still can though. But regardless, yeah. Venus with Jupiter may not necessarily bring you a relationship, but the reason why it may is because it's going to increase your desirability. Jupiter and Venus is going to evolve the way you express love and motivate you to even have fun expressing your charisma and sexuality, to where every time you do, fortunate things occur. And the conjunction to Mars will add such a fierce, passionate drive. For those of you who've been lacking motivation, you're not going to lack motivation at all this year. All right. I'm not going to speak of Jupiter's conjunctions to outer planets like Jupiter or Saturn, because it's really just the personal planets that you'll experience this more so. Any outer planets are not only generational, but they're just like an unconscious white noise that won't make too much of a difference. All right. Squares now to these planets by Jupiter. So that means you probably have this energy in Leo or Aquarius. They're going to indicate great challenge, to where you have to integrate what you're learning with real-time challenges that force you to deal with them. So on the Leo end, because this is more so a third quarter square, to the Scorpio energy, a Mercury or Moon square with Jupiter and Scorpio here is going to frustrate and challenge you to bring more of that passion into what you do. And the reason why it's challenging is because Scorpio and Leo is literally a nuclear bomb, and you have to find ways to balance this intense passion in ways that don't kill you or disrupt other people around you, but also open up the door. See, squares are not comfortable, but squares give greater rewards through that challenge. We all like the trines, we all like the conjunctions because they feel good, but there really isn't a great reward because you already have the reward. The square is what actually has you push forward. You know what I'm saying? Classic square. Jay-Z and Beyonce. Sagittarius, Virgo. That's a very clash-worthy energy. And in that relationship, they have a lot of issues, but look at how great they are because they worked past them. So really keep this in mind. The square that Jupiter will make to the moon, for a moon in Leo or Mercury in Leo, will really talk about being mindful of the ideas that are expressed. You're going to find that a lot of what you say actually reaches more ears, and you're able to feel more passionately about things, but you will have to deal with jealousy. Squares, Jupiter squaring Venus is going, Jupiter squaring Venus is going to have much to do with expressions of your love that trigger expansion in not all the right ways, especially because what you may express may be too much or not enough. So as well as the case with Mars, your ability and awareness to compromise in a way where you're willing to balance these energies will do a lot more. You'll find that with the Leo squares, it's too much. And with the Aquarius squares, you're too detached. It's not enough. And you need to give more depth and be less detached, okay? The oppositions now are really where you're going to reach your full reward. Because what people forget about oppositions are actually the most difficult to deal with, but they're the most rewarding. Because oppositions will have you fully have to extend forth the lesson of the sign so that you can fully manifest it and reap it. So for all of you with Taurus energy, all right, the Taurus energy is going to indicate a stubborn clash of you having to really feel valued before you express desire towards that which is craving you. This is especially so in the case of the Moon opposition and the Mars opposition. The Moon opposition for you Taurus moons will be quite pleasant because you'll come with intuitive ways to express more dramatically the sensual urges of your heart and soul. But you may not be bothered to act or move on it if you don't feel that depth of pleasure. Once you mix Scorpio and Taurus, you're talking about deep, intense pleasure. So that's going to have a great motivation when it comes to this thing. And Mercury opposite Jupiter can really give you both sides of a situation to where the wisdom that you're gaining psychologically, Mercury in Taurus is giving you the grounded physical facts and details that you can use to build on. The Venus opposition will provide stability and loyalty and faithfulness for you to express more of your sexual energy in ways that bring out your intimacy, but also provide structure for this water energy to go as deep as it needs to go. Now, in the case of the King Kungs, it's going to be different whether you have these personal planets in Aries or in Gemini. The Aries quincunxes to these personal planets will indicate quite profoundly your willingness and ability to transform and release that which hits as a dead end. So for you Moon in Aries, Mercury in Aries, Venus in Aries, Mars in Aries, I have Mars in Aries, you know, you have to be very mindful of the raw expression of what you express, because trust issues will be heavily sparked. And if you're not in a position to where all that rawness could be expressed at its full depth, you may not be in a position to even spark it in the first place. So this will really deal with a powerful timing issue, especially in the case of Venus or Mars quincunx Jupiter, to where certain actions you take could do way more than you expected it to because of the imbalance of energies. However, in the case of the Gemini quincunx, you have to be very mindful of the ideas and the thoughts that are evoked, because this will heavily influence the Scorpio energy that is expanding and giving you real-time insights. So in the case of Mercury and Gemini, quincunxing Jupiter and Scorpio, as you're thinking, especially the Moon in Gemini, as you're processing the relevant truth and words that are coming to you and that you're also expressing, Jupiter and Scorpio is working overtime to transform the situation based off of what you speak. So the reason why this is a little bit difficult is because you could really trigger things by words you didn't even mean to say, and you just have to be a lot more mindful. Of course, the semi-sextile will be similar to the quincunx, where if you have this energy in Sagittarius or in Capricorn, this speaks of release and also manifestation. So for those of you who have your Moon in Capricorn, no, I'm sorry, not Capricorn, Libra or Sagittarius, that's what I meant, Libra or Sagittarius. For those of you who have like a Moon in Libra or a Moon in Sagittarius, this is going to indicate with this Jupiter energy, feelings that you can build on, feelings you can build passionate beliefs on, or feelings about connections you have to let go, because Jupiter is really enlightening you to the deeper aspects of your connections with them. Okay. You'll find that with the Venus semi-sextiles and Mars, there's a lot of frustration in the Libra aspect because you're not going to be fully aware of what's building. But in the Sagittarius aspect, you're going to be directly manifesting off of the wisdom that you gain. Okay? And in the case of the sextiles, this is going to be probably the most fun, because for those of you with Moon or Mercury and Virgo or Capricorn, this is going to take what you already have available realistically and expand on it. You're good, especially in the case of Mars and Venus in Capricorn or Virgo, you're definitely going to take connections you have with others and actions and motivations you have, and it's just going to inspire you with all the wise ways and ideas, all right? It's very mental to act on this. The Virgo energy is going to incorporate ideas from other people and friends. The Capricorn energy is going to implement personal activation of your own personal ideas. So with that being said, we're going to take a 5 to 10 minute break. Do you guys want to take a 5-minute break or a 10-minute break? And once we come back, we'll resume with how this is going to influence the zodiac signs, as well as a, card drawing. All right, man. Let's take a 10-minute break. So it's 6:48. And we're going to come back at the top of the next hour. So when it's 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we will resume. All right? Thank you very much for your patience. Ether! Nikki, no, I didn't eat. How did you know? I'm going to turn off my camera, guys. So just be patient. I'm sorry, not be patient. Just I'm still here. I'm just gonna turn off the camera real quick. Hello, one and all. Please give me another 5 minutes and I will resume. So, as you get comfortable, I will ready the last part of the webinar. And yeah, once again, just I would take this time to charge your intention. Um, in fact, what we can do right now is a mini ritual. So for the next 5 minutes, I want you to hold your intention for what it is you really want to transform about yourself. What is your deepest self? What is your, I want you to hold in your mind's eye your vision of your most deep, seductive sexual self. And you'll find that this takes a bit more time to map out the complexities. You're not wanting to see your sexual self as someone having physical intercourse as much as how you bring this towards your interactions with people close to you. How does this person express itself? You'll find that you may have expressed this awkwardly. This is what's changing. But once again, I will resume in another 4 minutes. Stay tuned. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let us continue with this webinar. We are now going to express how these energies play themselves out through the zodiac signs. Oh my God, I'm sorry for those of you who have fun, but I'm gonna chill. Yeah. So I have per bullet sign each decan of this transit. You want to see each bullet sign as a beginning, middle, end. And even if you have no Aries in your chart, you want to pay attention. All these zodiac signs make up a part of you, as I will always say. And this is very instrumental in developing the omni consciousness of your being. So you want to pay attention to this for your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising. But even if it's not your sign, you want to pay attention to it as much as if it was your sign. Let's say you have no Aries energy. When I give you this horoscope, it's probably not going to be accurate for you, because it's not that it's not accurate, you just don't have any energy to be aware of it. So it's still accurate for you, but it's just happening in an area of your life that you're not aware. So know this is 12 dimensions of divination we are walking through, and every single one of these cards applies to you. So Aries, this is talking about your identity. This is talking about how you as a person is going to be shocked and shifted by this Jupiter and Scorpio transit. Sun in Aries, rising in Aries, and of course, moon in Aries is going to very profoundly experience this shift. Oh, crap. So, with that in mind, Aries, you're definitely going to experience a beautiful death. This beautiful death has much to do with the 8th house being activated by Jupiter in your sign, as it'll be aspecting and highlighting your 12th and 10th with Neptune and Pluto. You're really going to be making the necessary transformation to become the higher version of yourself. Pluto definitely intensely having you almost die to achieve your goals and to reach this success, and Neptune really having dissolved any parts of your ego that help you forget we're all connected. This beautiful death is going to put to rest a lot of your struggle, but you're going to start the transit off with a very powerful ego death. And who you are and who you felt you were is going to literally eradicate. From October to December, you're going to feel this profoundly. This ego death is not going to be easy, because you're going to have to put to rest parts of yourself that you really loved. All right? I'm not an Aries, but I'm going to experience this too. It's just Aries suns, Aries moons are going to resonate with this way more powerfully. So just keep this in mind. So everyone watching this, whether you're Aries or not, you're going to go through some form of ego death. And it's not going to be pretty, because death isn't always beautiful, except this one will be. So just know that what's dying is not in a sense of something that you need to be crying or afraid of. This is going to be a death that will release the parts of the mortal self of yourself that has limited you. This is now going to lead into the resurrection phase, where this resurrection isn't going to happen instantly, but this resurrection phase is going to be the retrograde. that occurs in March. During Jupiter retrograde, you're going to experience resurrection, and this resurrection has much to do profoundly with you rising from the ashes. You're going to, during this retrograde period, reevaluate the facets that had you die, and now begin the stages of piecing together the new you. And then the third decan, when, or not the third decan, but the last phase, when Jupiter now goes direct and leaves Scorpio, you're now regenerating. Everything that you damaged to die, you're now becoming new and healthier. And this is going to have you really come in to a more polished and transformed you. So just really keep this in mind, my friend. There's great, this is years in the making, by the way. So it's not like you're just dying to something like recent. You're really letting go of a large facet of who you used to be. Because when you think of cyclical transits, it's not just Jupiter that's in Scorpio. Saturn already went through Scorpio. Pluto already went through Scorpio. Uranus already went through Scorpio. Neptune already went through Scorpio. And now Jupiter is coming back around to complete this cycle. We're galactically reaching a greater state of conclusion and release because the outer planets are closer to the end signs. That's why we're in the last days, the end times. So with the tarot, with justice, this ego death is definitely going to be done so in a very civil way. You have very important decisions that will be made. And what this Jupiter and Scorpio transit will help do is align the forces of destiny and karma on your side so that you're able to make important decisions as well. The Queen of Pentacles and the Empress, if anything, I see is you consolidating a lot of your energy so that you're in a greater position to reap fantastically off of the hard work that you've put in. So there's going to be a legitimization to certain work that you're doing to make more official and legal. And this is directly going to lead to your abundance, Aries. But Aries, this is also talking about a relationship with this queen who's going to almost be a guide during this process for you so that she can help balance out any of the darker experiences that you're going to inevitably go through, okay? So with that being said, Taurus, this is your sweet seduction. God damn it. My extreme OCD. You see extreme breakthrough. This is really just extreme OCD, my friends. But Taurus, this is a sweet seduction, okay? And this sweet seduction very greatly incorporates the 7th house activation of your energy. Because Jupiter will be in your 7th, you're going to know now how to apply the sensual personality you have towards others. When you take that sensual grace and that stability that you have and you take it towards others, it's desirable. It becomes Scorpio, it becomes sexy. So you really want to be mindful, and this is something that Taurus and Virgo are going to go through a lot, but you're going to have to incorporate a grounded sense of sexuality in your relationships with everyone, no matter how awkward it may feel at first. I'm not saying that you should touch people in provocative ways, but you have to talk to people intimately. You have to really be in a position to where you're really expressing more of your heart in ways that add not necessarily romance, but seduction. Okay? This is less about any business partnerships that come through, because seduction will have to be employed in them too. And seduction has a bad rap. Seduction is really just more a sexual form of influence, to where you're engaging people's emotions in subtle ways. Well, the first part of this transit is going to be the self-love, because this is a 7th house transit that's going to expand upon and transmute the nature of relationships you have. For you Tauruses who've been feeling stuck in relationships, this is the stimulus package that's going to finally take that cement and stir it up so it could be wet and it could be fluid again. And you're not just like stuck in some ice. Okay? So you need to start this transit off with great self-love. In order for you to be in a position to where you can bring a lot to the table in a relationship, you need to love yourself. You need to take yourself out on a date while this first comes through. You really need to show that you can be a partner to yourself. And this is going to manifest itself through the retrograde as deeper partnerships. Because of the hard work, and it's going to be fun, by the way. It's not going to be hard work. Because of the fun you invest to loving yourself, the partnerships that you now exist with will be much deeper, because that work is going to show itself in those partnerships. And then once this goes direct, you're going to extremely break through in every facet of your life with these partnerships, where you'll be taking profound leadership positions and sometimes playing the back row too. I love the Wheel of Fortune, because you're starting this transit off with a faded shift of energy to where things align in your favor. The Wheel of Fortune in the tarot is Jupiter. So you're really going to come into an important understanding of why you need to do the self-love. The partner may really reveal themselves before this happens in Libra. And the more love you have for yourself, the more you can fill the cup of others. And with the Emperor card, you're going to find that a lot of what shifts for you, Taurus, really brings a lot more order and stability for you. And I really like this Queen of Cups. I see this as like the Emperor and the Queen of Cups is two people who are together romantically in a very stable setting. You can see the King and Queen there, all right? So there's a shift in the way they're able to relate. And this Queen Taurus is going to break you out of your rigidity and make you a lot softer, but still retaining your power and dignity, okay? She's definitely very psychic too. So she's gonna love all the ways you seduce her. Although Taurus woman watching this, this is definitely you balancing the power and order you have with your own sensual grace and compassion. But this could also manifest itself as a compassionate friend who you partner with to now break through in creative ways. Gemini, this is the magic integration transit for you. I've been waiting for this transit. No, I haven't been waiting for this transit, but I'm so grateful for it. So as a Gemini, especially you Gemini risings, I can totally resonate. Because I'm a late Taurus rising, I kind of experience things double. But yeah, Jupiter highlighting your 6th house is now going to take everything you've learned about how to put your lifestyle in order, and you're finally just going to put it all together magically. Stuff that you learned since 2010 in the past about how to live a very intensely transformative lifestyle, you're going to finally put in motion. Now keep in mind, the 6th house is about routine work and lifestyle, and Scorpio is about secrecy. So there are very secret elements about the work you do that you won't necessarily reveal to everyone, because this is just part of what makes you who you are, okay? We start this off with a very important lifestyle transformation. This first decan is going to be you putting into application and really implementing a lot of the techniques that you can use to transform your life through the style and decisions that you make. the food you eat and what you decide to invest your time with doing. As Jupiter retrogrades, you're going to experience a routine breakthrough where the work you're putting in on the routine, you finally notice a breakthrough because you've been working out this whole time, because you've actually done what you said you were going to do every day, and you reached a level of consistency, which is quite difficult for Geminis to maintain unless they have supporting planets. You holding fast to that consistency with the wisdom that Jupiter really helps you do will give you a routine breakthrough. And the reason why this is important is because you've built the magic, but putting it all together has been difficult. All right? Now you're going to find a way to integrate your magic so that you can stay focused and still be aware of everything. And this is what's going to lend to the new you. Before Jupiter goes into your 7th house in Sagittarius and you present yourself to the world stage in dazzling ways, you're going to transform your behavior so that you can step into this new you that has been 6+ years in the making. With this, now, if we take this tarot card reading in context, it looks like you're definitely having to deal with some deception. The 7 of Swords and the 7 of Cups is talking about someone selling you a dream, especially in the beginning of this transit. But also, Gemini, you could be selling someone a dream as well. Ultimately, though, what this placement is talking about is you're seeing into a vision that no one else can really see. So you can't talk to anyone else about it. Gemini, that 7 of Swords is actually you. For some of you, that 7 of Swords is actually you. You're starting off this transit, transforming your life with a technique that involves you do something in the dead of the night or on your own. It's not something you can reveal to too many people, okay? And the 7 of Cups is going to have you in altered states of mind because you're shifting your behavior, and this is going to shift your motivation subtly. Look to the 6 of Swords at the end of the transit to have you really reach a positive resolution and sail away from that which was unclear. But be very mindful because especially at the beginning of the transit, all that glitters is definitely not gold. Okay? Regardless though, the 7 of Swords is actually good because you're going to be able to get done stuff that if you were to do in front of other people, they would block you. So you're just going to get it done on your own. Cancer, we have soul love. We have soul love. This is love that is so pure and divine that's going to really refresh your heart, which is important because some of you have been gypped quite profoundly out of love. Some of you have dealt with people who just wasted your time and they were so selfish that even though they may have cared about you, they didn't realize how much they were sabotaging what you were building for yourself. So Cancer, this is a very amazing opportunity to evolve the depth of love you can feel. And you already feel love at a deep level. So keep this in mind. You're going to find that there's a revivification of your creative potential. So coming from advice of a Gemini, Libra was my 5th house, and I made amazing music this year. I made an EP, I put out a couple videos. Cancer, you're going to be very inspired to rev your creative juices. You're going to see a lot of Cancer artists put out some of the greatest music of their lives because they're really being hit with this intense energy with the Pluto opposition. And your relationships are going to transform profoundly based on your willingness to just really go super deep and intense in the way you express your heart. This is going to start off with a heart activation to where your inner child grows bigger and bigger and you feel the love in greater ways. Of course, this is more an ideal interpretation because water energy is pure and we're in an impure vibration. This won't always manifest itself in positive situations. You're going to have to deal with people whose energies are not pure. But the activation of your heart will actually show you how, when you love, you purify these putrid energies and you become a tank of healing. The retrograde is going to bring forth now golden love. This is where gold vibrations are emanating unconditionally from your heart, and you're star-eyed, okay? Very significant relationships with others will key in profoundly how your activated heart can now express its superpowers. Cancer, you more than any other sign during this transit are going to fully merge with a divine partner of your choice. Not a divine partner that was fated, a divine partner that you choose. And this is what's going to really give these divine vibes, okay? You're going to be caught up in a grand water trine. So Neptune in Pisces is refining the divine nature of experience. Yeah, they're lucky ducks for sure. And then Jupiter in Scorpio is also amplifying the depth to which you can experience this magic. So this is going to be very divine and amazing, to where you're going to be the source of these divine vibes, and people who are around you will just feel better and ethereal. The Ace of Swords is you starting off this transit with great epiphanies. You may be in a position where you have that important conversation that clears up the truth and things are revealed. This will segue to the Seven of Wands, which is you taking that truth and standing up for yourself. Cancer, your heart's going to open because you're going to realize that you backed down off of stuff you didn't have to back down on. You were right the whole time. And the Ace of Wands is going to lead to another great breakthrough. So the Ace of Swords and the Ace of Wands is super excitement. All right? It's kind of you getting hit both ways with just a lot of potent energy. And it's new too. So it's going to implement new projects and new phases. You just want to spend that middle part of the transit standing up for what you express, because you're going to get opposition for the truth you speak, but you standing up for yourself will eventually turn into a greater victory, and just instead of you backing down. Leo, for you we have a sacred revelation. The sacred revelation has much to do with Jupiter that'll be transiting your 4th house and illuminating the depth of your soul. Because this is Scorpio, you deal with intense chaos that you will almost never reveal to others, because the depth at which you relate with people on a personal level is too complex to put into words, given the source of everything you're aware of. A lot of people don't know you're very much like Virgo, except you're just not critical. Virgo is aware of everything, but they analyze it critically. Leo is also aware of everything, but instead they're just very open about it. So there's certain deep-seated, complex emotional pain that also gives birth and correlation to the sacred nature of your ancestry. Keep this in profound mind, because what's going to be revealed to you, Leo, is the true strength of your soul and the beginning of the path of immortality, as you are an emissary of the solar beings and sun. The first decan will feature a soul death, to where you're just going to feel like you're dying inside. Whereas Aries goes through an ego death, you're just going to go through a soul death, where you don't feel the same about a lot, and some of your souls may feel like it's literally like releasing. This may not even be painful to some of you, because the pain came more 2014 when Saturn was in your fourth. But this will lead to a potent Phoenix rebirth during the retrograde, where because your soul is being reborn, this is opening up an immortal spark for you. This Phoenix rebirth is going to have much to do with reviving a new sense of passion and depth in your heart that rids all the negative, impressionable programming that your family and early childhood influences have had on you. That is the reason for this soul death. So that as you step into this nodal power, you're doing it with a pure soul. And the soul tribe is you definitely coming into a great awareness of who you're rocking with in this lifetime. Because your soul is being reborn, you're going to connect with a new family in a soul level. I like the cards we have here because they're very indicative of new love branching for you. So for those of you who are single, this is going to be a great opportunity to meet a brand new partner. But outside of relationships, Leo, the magician is saying that you're definitely going to manifest the fullness of who you are, which is what's going to lead to this soul death. Bringing in the lesson of this Jupiter and Libra energy and manifesting that which you have been focusing on as you apply the strength of your will to shift forward into developing new feelings with this Phoenix rebirth. The Page of Cups is feeling new feelings because you have a new soul. It's the birth. The Page of Cups is the birth of a new child. So it's kind of ironic that I pulled this to the same decan as the Phoenix rebirth. And this is really talking about, with the Fool, you embarking on an adventure to connect even greater with this soul tribe. But this is a very good card combination, Leo. You can almost see that Page of Cups as the Fool approaching you as the magician. So be open to any admiration or love letters or new love that enters your life during this transit. For you single Leos at least. Virgo, this is going to be an intense mind shift. Jupiter in your third house is going to transform the way you communicate. And this transformation is going to transmute certain things you are unclear about the nature of people. And it's just going to have you see in a more wise way how people think and how this subconsciously motivates their actions. It has more sexually to do than you know. So this is going to catch a lot of you off guard, because the suppressed sexual energy is what you're going to see influencing people more so than any nervousness that they may face or stress. So at an instinctual level, Jupiter in your third is going to disarm people's uncomfort with sexual innuendo. You're going to be getting people comfortable with having a sexual attitude. Sexual innuendo frenzy is not really being vulgar at all, but it's sex joke here, sex joke there. There's this thing to Scorpio that disarms people from being too serious and too proper. And you're going to find that with your words and with your language and attitude, you're greatly able to express this. So if you find that your mind is a lot more on sex, this is really just Jupiter stimulating your mind, okay? And just let this frenzy actually develop your language, because this is less than just you kind of like being sexual. This is more you entering a new attitude and state of integrating this sexuality with the way you speak, so that you can express more of yourself. mental detonation is going to occur during the retrograde to where everything that you know is going to implode on itself so that you can rediscover the same energy with new eyes. This is very auspicious and very important because a large part of how you're going to piece together your awareness of this deep energy within people's souls has much to do with releasing old behaviors and thoughts that clearly contradict the new wisdom you're gaining from direct real life experience. And we end this transit for you with conversational hypnosis. Jupiter in Scorpio is going to really teach you how to entrain and entrance people with your words and with the way you pace your language and speech. You're just going to really come to a profound understanding about how you've been doing way too much, Virgo, and about how if you're just more focused on how you say what you say, this really does much to free up greater room for you. So that conversational hypnosis transit is very powerful because just with talking to people, you'll be able in 2 minutes to put them in a state of trance and to slip suggestive words into them that will make them feel like they're doing what you want them to do because they wanted to, but you just basically manipulated them to do it. With the Four of Swords, you're definitely starting the transit off very relaxed and in a position to where you're able to calm down and gain some meditation. In fact, this is really good cards because you're going to have a lot of mental relaxation and celebration with the Three of Cups. You'll find that you're able to apply a lot of this mind shift to friends that you have, which promote increased fun and interaction and deeper connection. And the Two of Wands has much to do with you gaining a profound level of vision as you map forward that which you're ready to manifest. As such, there's great fortune that you'll manifest as well, and physical wealth due to the courageous actions you take to be about who you say you are. Libra, this is going to be a wealth expansion transit as you're going to have your second house activated. And this second house activation is going to do a whole lot to really shift the way you see yourself so that you feel into your worth at a intensely deep level. Because you have Pluto squaring your sun, Libra, you're fooling a lot of people, but there's this heavy sense of insecurity that's almost hard to shake at a very core internal level. So look to Jupiter in your second house to really help expand the quality of value you feel in yourself because you're going to be making a crap ton of money. Especially when we start this transit off with broken down to pieces, you're going to realize that a whole lot of what made you feel good about yourself was based on a whole bunch of fake crap that you fed yourself and most importantly, other people fed you. It's not your fault, Libra, that other people were fake and gave you fake compliments and were never really genuine. Other than the rare 1 or 2 people who are genuine, you receiving this through your life has built self-esteem upon false principles. So all those false principles are going to completely destroy and crumble on the false sense of foundation they have. And this could be very difficult for you because even though you'll be in positions where you shine, you just may find, you may feel more and more, not worthless, but you may really lack confidence because you're humbled incredibly. And this is where that retrograde starts to rebirth your self-worth. And you're going to slowly gain confidence again because you see quite clearly how the work you're manifesting is producing rareness of quality that no one can get anywhere else, making you a specialist in your field. This will now lead to great financial breakthroughs that will usher in a 6-year transit of making more and more value and money for yourself. The 10 of Pentacles is definitely you manifesting a lot of this wealth. And then initially, and I was going to say that for some of you Libras, you're going to get a lot of money, but you have to be careful because someone may finesse you out of it. Someone may try and act like they need your assistance, and then they just completely like betray you and rob you of everything that you have. Okay. What I sense this is for a lot of you though, Libra, what may break you down to pieces is you may go through a certain rejection of your family. Some of you may have to walk away from an expectation or a facet of your legacy that you probably had your parents expect from you. So this is another alternate interpretation. The 5 of Pentacles and the 3 of Swords is not pretty at all. This is definitely a sacrifice and really kind of being alienated from some facet of experience. Okay. Allison, I totally agree. There's a release of scarcity mentality that will be had, and this is what will be sacrificed as well. So even though these cards seem negative, it's still going to be a positive transit. These are just core themes that will have to be taken care of, you know. Scorpio, congratulations. This is your rebirth transit. This rebirth transit is as simple as you would think it is, but nothing about you is simple, Scorpio. So the simplistic complex transit will take that which you have built over the past 6 years to develop about yourself. So now you can completely transform into this. You spent the past 6 years developing ideas about who you should be, philosophies about what's right, what's wrong, goals about what you want to accomplish. And now it's time for you to really become this person. Although part of the transit is to realize that over these 6 years, you have become this person, but this is you moving forward, completely transforming. So we start off with the funeral. You're really going to say goodbye to yourself. This theme of death and rebirth is prevalent through a lot of signs, but you'll embody it. So you're going to have a funeral to yourself. You're going to really say goodbye. You're going to be smiling the whole way, by the way. You're just going to be happy about how like all the old stuff in your life and the old you is gone. All the old stuff that used to limit you and hold you back, it's dead. And the second decan is moving forward towards evolution. And you're going to definitely gain a profound realization of how important your presence is and what it is you're here to truly manifest. But this evolution will take into account the latent psychic ability that could not surface because of the old you that blocked and sabotaged it. Now that that's out the picture, it's just going to... And this is going to lead into your inevitable victory as you cross the finish line and begin a new 12-year cycle, especially you Scorpio risings. This is going to be very positive as you finally cleared the past 12 years of your life and you're ready to start. When I went through this kind of first house transit, I became the peace dealer. So Scorpio, Scorpio rising, you're really about to step into a whole new world, my friends. Your destiny is here, and use this opportunity to speak out and to really be in a position to expand yourself and transmute that which you're ready to step into the next level. The Queen of Swords is definitely a logical influence that will seek to keep you in check. And I sense a certain antagonistic relationship with her at first, because she's not going to play any games with you, Scorpio. She's going to call you out on your bullshit every single which way. And it's up to you to really compromise or not with her. I know you don't really compromise that much, but you can if you want. And the Three of Swords could even be talking about a certain sense of betrayal from her. This is kind of hard to read. I see this queen is looking at this Three of Swords, but not necessarily directly involved. But that this Three of Swords is blocking the Ace of Wands opportunity. So Scorpio, this is some of you reaching out to someone who has a broken heart, or someone might be reaching out to you and you're having to rebirth through your own cold, broken heart. Not every one of you has a broken heart though. But whatever it is that you sacrifice and release in the middle of the transit is going to lead to this victory Ace of Wands energy that has you very profoundly breaking free and definitely being lit. So it definitely opens up. The first couple parts may start off cold because you're dying and evolving, but this victory is going to be sweet. Sagittarius. Final destination. This transit for you is going to highlight your 12th house. And I'm not going to lie, Sag, it's not going to be easy at all. Oops. It's not going to be neat. It's not nearly going to be easy at all, especially when you're going to have to deal with influences you're just not fully aware of. Sagittarius, Gemini went through what you're going to go through 2011, end of 2011 into 2012. And you're going to find that you're driven a lot more into isolation because the work that Saturn has done for you has finished. And you've now understood the responsibility of who you have to be so that you can shine and bring meaning to the world in this newer generation. Jupiter in your 12th is now going to prepare for you to start your own destiny 2019 and change any old spiritual beliefs that no longer align with who you have become. So it's over for you, Sagittarius. Your world is done. The last 12 years of your life have taught you how magical you truly are, and you're getting ready to take this to another level and to really take this to another dimension. So you really need some time to isolate and really make do with what you feel. And this is as simple as just resting. Don't really be put off if things get halted. You know, Saturn will be shifting in your second, so you will be moving forward on certain things. But just know this 12th house influence is going to very indirectly raise your psychic ability and intuition. So it's over as you definitely releasing a lot of pain, a lot of stuff that you've been suffering through. And this is where that second decan gets to the release, release, release. Okay? You're just going, you know, certain things may leave from your life. You may lose certain family members. You may lose certain friends. You may lose certain jobs. And that's because anything that is not ready to walk into your new life, 2019, has to leave. It's done. They were part of the old season. You know how there's some people in a TV show, they don't make it past the next season because they were just meant for that season? That's what's going to happen. It's going to prepare, all right, as you recruit for ascension, like Nikita has said. And the divine transmutation that occurs is going to take the darkness that has built cumulatively in your subconscious mind at the depths of your core, and it's going to transmute all that darkness into positive, vibrant light. so that you can step into your God consciousness and really represent and be the creator that you are, okay? Cancer, or rather the Queen of Cups and the Five of Wands, is you starting this transit, having to brainstorm and balance your energy with this compassionate queen. Whereas the Queen of Swords is calling Scorpio on their BS and holding them accountable. This queen here is going to really help you understand your feelings. So look to a very emotional, compassionate woman to who you can really share your feelings with. She's going to understand everything you're saying. And the Five of Wands is you having to shift and gain through these hassles experience to help you see what you need to release. Thankfully, with the Ten of Pentacles, this is going to end great to where you're reestablishing a sense of legacy and you're coming into profound wealth and value. Capricorn, welcome to the winner circle. This has been years in the making. And certain people who you felt you just met for one time, they're going to come back around in your life and it's all going to make sense. Your 11th house is being activated. So this is one of those transits where everything comes around and you really meet key people in your life who are going to be very important to you. If at least temporarily, it's definitely going to key in a very karmic sense of how these people who have been in your life and will enter your life encourage and align with the goals that you have. So this is going to be a cycle of completion and success before you release next year and surrender for a new cycle. You're going to really come into a whole lot of what you've been working for, which is everything that you've achieved at the end of Jupiter and Libra 2. So this is where you enjoy the rewards with your friends, okay? The winning team is where you really establish who has helped you achieve what you achieved. You're going to really understand the key people in your life who you can always go to manifest your hopes and wishes, to where if you work with them, they're in a position to provide great abundance. This is going to be so valuable because these are people who will always have this energy with you your whole life stream, which is why this is the winning team getting together, and you're going to work on this operation during the retrograde. So you're going to spend the first decade of this transit getting the Wonder Team together and really establishing and coming into full clarity. Oh, this is how all these people connect in my life. This is how it all comes together. And Operation Victory is you now implementing the strategy that this team, the winning team, is going to endure so that you settle for nothing less than the W. This retrograde motion of Jupiter is going to be some of the most tactically finessed, amazing work that you probably would have ever orchestrated and directed. And this is what's going to have you secure the bag. Major key, another one. You're going to really manifest a lot more than you expected. Secure the bag is like a slang for getting that money, you know what I'm saying? Securing that bag full of funds. And I really like the festive nature of the cards. The Ten of Pentacles is definitely you starting off with a lot of investment property and capital. You're definitely grounded in your roots. And the Four of Wands at the end is more celebration here. And with the Queen of Wands in the middle, you're definitely going to have this leadership position where you're doing so in an exciting way that brings more charisma. But this Queen of Wands is actually a Aries woman, or just someone who is fiery in nature, that's going to be like your go-hand person for passion. They're not going to cheerlead and root for you for the sides. They're going to directly, provide assistance and really make this exciting for you. All right. So congratulations, Capricorn. This is years in the making for you to achieve this. Some of you will be able to ascend to higher social places in society. For those of you who are socialites, this could be you going viral. Okay. Aquarius, speaking of viral, we have world success. Shout out to Khalid. Khalid is actually also from El Paso, Texas, and he's an Aquarius. So that's someone who I would like to follow because you'll see him really express profoundly what you can do with this success, all right? And Jupiter is transiting your 10th house, Aquarius. So you have to come to profound terms with the goals that you want to achieve. And this is your opportunity to really reap off the hard work you've put in since 2014 and just relish in it all. But even relishing in it all can have its pitfalls if you're not surrounded by people who are trustworthy, and if you care more about what other people think than how you see yourself and what you're willing to manifest with yourself. This will express itself in a legacy audit. This legacy audit will have much to do with every single priority you have in your life being reprioritized, Aquarius. You really think, okay, you're not a thinker. Gemini thinks. You know, you're the knower, right? But there's certain facets that have shifted due to a change of your situation that are drastically changing your priorities. And in order for you to truly step into this level of success, you have to reprioritize everything that's important to you. I guarantee you, Jupiter will transform and highlight new goals that you now are motivated to reach because you're in positions where you weren't before. Before it wasn't appealing to you because you weren't there. But now that you're there, it's like, yeah, I do want a private jet. Before you were flying coach. So it's like, no, I don't want a private jet. Now you might be a millionaire. So you might have to fly private. You know what I'm saying? This is you really auditing your legacy and coming into a greater sense of what you want to achieve. And this is what's going to come into great karmic fulfillment come the retrograde period, because all of the stuff that you're prioritizing is going to profoundly fulfill the karmic work that you have to do, which is all part and parcel of why you're coming into this world success. Because you're galactic, Aquarius, you're a universal being. So you're meant to influence people at a large public facet and way. Not all Aquariuses end up doing this, but you're going to fulfill your karma as you see firsthand the influence you have in your public society. As we end this with sacred influence to where you literally have a halo buzzing around you, and you just being in the presence of others, Aquarius, is enough to get them to tingle and shake. It's kind of like becoming a celebrity. And some of you won't see it coming because Uranus is in your 3rd house, so you're not, and it's going to slowly be in your 4th for a while, so you're not necessarily going to be so aware of how you may say something and in 20 minutes, the whole world knows about it because it just traveled lightning quick. And this is going to have you learn about your influence. Now, similar to Gemini, I don't know, we have the 7 of Swords here again. The Ace of Wands is you starting this transit off very passionately and with an explosion of very positive and raw emotion. But that 7 of Swords and the 9 of Wands is definitely someone being caught out to be a fraud, all right? What's really interesting is that the Ace of Wands and the 7 of Swords is an excellent combination for business because it's you kind of cutting through on an idea before anyone else does it, and you're able to jump the gun. But the 9 of Wands could be talking about maybe someone seeing into this private facet of what you're developing and being a bit suspicious, or this could be you watching someone do this as well. This is a little bit shaky here, but clearly you can see the 7 of Swords and the 9 of Wands have a direct connection to each other. So just keep this in mind. People who you may be working with may not fully align with what you're doing, but this is not necessarily a bad combination because it's just going to open up more room for understanding, unless this is circumvented by secrecy and deception. Regardless, this is going to be all the keys needed to achieve this world success. And finally, Pisces. This is the coolest one, actually. You're going to experience the Divine Mystery School. You're not going to have Divine Mystery School. You're not going to do Divine Mystery School. You're going to experience the Divine Mystery School that only Pisces risings and Pisces, some Pisces moons can feel into, as Scorpio in your ninth house opens you up to an occult knowledge of that which is hidden. You see, Scorpio is that which is secret, but the ninth house is that which you can see. So Pisces can see that which is hidden. This is why I know all Pisces are full of shit when they say that they can't see ghosts. They're just lying to you because they don't want to have to break down and explain the energies that subtly vibrate through the universe that most others can't see. And this transit is going to bring an evolution of clear sight to where you're really incorporating philosophical context of life and death and transformation to engender a higher connection of how you flow through the realm, because you're the living representation of the spirit realm. And you can just sense frequencies from miles away when people talk about you. It's kind of gangster. So we start this off with the secret language. You're going to be learning a secret telepathic language to incorporate that which you will be learning from this mystery school. This Divine Mystery School is really meant to uncover a greater belief in how you take these deeper feelings and show them out to the world. This secret language will implement saying things by not saying them and just using your body language to infer secrets about the divine. This is where Pisces helps Gemini, because Pisces knows that Gemini cannot say things about the Scorpio embargo, but Pisces will indirectly tell Gemini without telling Gemini, wink, wink, what the mysteries are. And this is what you're going to really experience and learn. The secret language is going to be one of the heart that you're able to speak without saying any words. It's just one that you feel, and people feel what you said without having to say it, because it's going to influence what they think, whether they're aware or not. And this is going to embark you on a hidden journey. And this hidden journey is going to be reflective of how you're living this life with other people, but you're going to have to deal with a twilight zone feel with Neptune in your sign, to where you're aware of energies and frequencies that literally no one else is aware of. Unless they're illumined like you, but not everyone is as divine as you. This hidden journey is going to go deep inside of yourself, to where you really uncover the more complex psychological motivations of your soul, and how this directly influences what you believe, how you act off on those beliefs, and how you charismatically express your sexuality. Because I feel like the most horny people in life who think about sex 24/7 are Pisces or Sagittarius, one or the other. This will now lead to a divine revelation of energy that will take this hidden journey and sacred language you've spoken and conclude with a profound meaning about how to fine-tune a lot of what it is you have expressed into a packageable philosophy that, with Uranus that will move into your third house, will tangibly have you express this in the most radical of ways. You're just going to be like Aquarius, who's just saying things that are just so out there, but still unconventionally key people in to how raw they can be. The Eight of Wands is going to talk about the transit building off with a lot of, swift energy that's going to flow in the air. So blockages will be revealed as mysteries are revealed to you. And because you catch on so quick, Pisces, this is what's going to make things advance very quick as you connect the synchronicities together. And the Death card is you transforming through this hidden journey so that you can access deeper parts of your power. The Page of Pentacles is now you graduating and gaining this pentacle, because the Page of Pentacles is very much so a scholar. Okay, so this is what you're going to very profoundly experience as you manifest a special diploma, let's say, from this mystery school. I love you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. We are now finished with the webinar. I hope you're ready for Jupiter and Scorpio, because it's going to transform your whole life in the sense where a deeper revelation about how you really feel about things and about what you can really do with greater access to your psychic ability will engender such a more unified connection with your soul and such a more stronger expression of your spirit. That being said, once again, please be patient. I promise you I will get to every last email, and I will give you this mini reading. There'll be at least 3 to 4 sentences that will express what this transit will do for you personally. So thank you once again. Make sure, for those of you who have questions, you keep the questions more about the transit instead of personal natal chart questions, as I'll give you the mini reading in the email. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Philip. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Sammy. Thank you, Lorna. Much appreciated. So Nikita asked an amazing question. Nikita asked, how will Jupiter and Scorpio affect, how will Jupiter and Scorpio affect yin-yang apprentices? Jupiter and Scorpio will affect yin-yang apprentices in the sense where they have to make peace with the darker parts of their energy, because Jupiter and Scorpio is going to amplify that darker part of them. And that darker part of them is going to seek to take control over the light part of their yang. So this yin will be a boost to strengthen the yang, but it's going to affect Jupiter and Scorpio by initially bringing depression, but then through that depression, a lot of bliss. Due to how well the yin-yang apprentice can transmute that darkness and surplus of yin. How is Jupiter and Scorpio going to play with Lilith, if at all? Lilith will have been in Capricorn, so it will be sextiling it, taking the very raw, promiscuous passion that it built in Sagittarius, and now kind of structure into a more mischievous but still controlled way of expressing our sexuality. Lilith in Capricorn and Jupiter in Scorpio is going to promote a whole lot of infidelity in relationships, because it will test loyalty, but it will also make profoundly aware how dark certain people are and how, you know, unfaithful certain people are. Don't forget, Jupiter is Zeus, right? So this is the person who cheated on Hera all the time. So keep that in mind. I see that sextile really opening up opportunity to really, you know, evolve your level of seduction as well. That's cool, King Mitchell. Can you explain what Jupiter trining Neptune will mean again? Lilac Ocean 420. Jupiter attending. Oh, good job, Jennifer. Thank you for attending. Jupiter trining Neptune is going to push you into a psychic magical pool of energy. And when you walk out of this pool, you'll be completely cleansed, and you won't be interfered with what you feel. Now, when you sense intuitions, Jupiter in Scorpio is going to have you feel the intuition, and you're going to know how deeply you're feeling it. And then Neptune in Pisces is going to take that deep feeling you have and give you the imagination of what it is, so that you actually come with the context and know what you're feeling very powerfully. This is going to express greater psychic energy to where your intuition just flows so much better, okay? But yeah, hold on. How will Jupiter in Scorpio affect Scorpios putting in the work versus those operating unconsciously? I am thinking about my coworker who is a Scorpio with a nasty temper. Those of them putting in the work, Jupiter in Scorpio is going to just bless you beyond belief. Those of you who are operating unconsciously, Jupiter in Scorpio is going to reset and rebalance you so that you can put in greater work. Very great question, Allison. All right. What psychic abilities can we learn to develop deeper from the Jupiter transit of Scorpio? Great question, Smoke. Telepathy, emotional and sexual telepathy, sexual projection, advanced seduction, which is a psychic skill to where you incorporate telepathy and just the intuitive knowledge of what someone's body and mind want, and you just allow this to channel and flow through you. This is going to be something that develops in a lot of people who have a lot of powerful water in their chart. So these psychic capabilities will develop a lot of the water energies that you have, and astral projection and lucid dreaming will open up profoundly for a lot of people too. You're going to have more experiences of clairvoyance to where you just kind of know things before they happen, and claircognizance. And it's really more so building the intimacy of telepathy. Jupiter in Scorpio is why you're going to be with a lover and you won't have to say much to them, because you're literally hearing each other, like think their thoughts to each other. So great question. How is Saturn in Cap Dance with Jupiter and Scorpio? Is this going to get awkward? Yeah, it is, because Saturn in Capricorn is like the military general leading us into war, and Jupiter in Scorpio is this dark humor coming up. So everyone's going to be very somber. People, you know how Libra is with Jupiter, and then we had all this Leo energy. So we're all dramatic. You know, a lot of people are being kind of a lot of people are being mad against social advocates. You know what I'm saying? People just want to laugh and have fun. When this goes into Jupiter and Scorpio, Capricorn and Scorpio, people are going to want to be very serious. People are going to want you to take things more seriously. No one's going to be that much in the mood to laugh, because people are going to be on the brink of war. People are going through disaster. People are going to be very tight. But this is also going to bring out the greatness of our master selves as well. It's definitely going to add a lot of tenseness, though. What happens when Jupiter passes over natal Pluto spot for us, Pluto and Scorpio Gen? This is one of the best questions. When Saturn went over my Pluto and Scorpio in 2014, this is when I got kicked out of my house. It's in my 6th house of lifestyle and behavior. So Saturn went over my Pluto and Scorpio, and my mom kicked me out because she caught me smoking weed in her house. And she got fed up. She was like, you need to leave. You need to change your lifestyle and behavior. And she sent me to Kansas. This was inevitably the end of 2013. 2014 was when I got to Kansas. And 2 months later is when I got kicked out to start my life path and begin my online shop. Okay. So Jupiter going over Pluto for the Pluto and Scorpio generation is going to have you tap in to that full power that you know you have. See, Pluto Scorpio knows that they have this deep superpower, but it's too deep to access. It's like, so it's for some people, they don't know how to access that unconscious energy. Jupiter is going to bring it up so that you can finally evolve and access it. It's finally your time, Pluto in Scorpio. Oh, right. And that's on what, 71 to 84, I believe. No, 84 to 95. 1984 to 95, or even 83. How will this affect people with sexuality issues? Allison, this is going to very profoundly, you know, have people be more comfortable in their sexuality. Jupiter wants to encourage and embrace more of a charisma. So it'll give people sexual charisma by forcing them through awkward situations to where they just kind of, because if you don't show up and if you're awkward, it's not gonna help. But if you work with Jupiter here, you can use the experience to be more sexually charismatic. Me, I could be awkward a lot, so I'm gonna gain from this myself. All right. How will this affect natal Jupiter and water signs? This is basically just going to add to the level of which you can feel deeply. And this will also add to the level of, you know what I'm saying, energy. Nikita, yes, you could say that this gave those energies the instructions of the RPG. This was the release party, and this is the recruitment mode. So it's giving you the tutorial before you start, all right? How can we expect this to affect our experiences with meditation? Great question, Ms. Kiki. This transit is going to add a deeper depth. So for those of you where it's hard to really feel into the energy, the veil is going to be that much thinner to where, oh my gosh, I'm having psychedelic experiences. It's much easier to trigger these, all right? Sammy S., you totally can email this later. That is totally fine, all right? How about the Uranus Scorpio generation, Margaret? Very great question. In fact, the only one who will probably be more triggered by this is the Uranus Scorpio generation. The Neptune Scorpio generation will experience an evolution of their intuition to where it's mastered. By now, you're just it's going to be so finely on tune, it's going to be scary. You're going to really feel relief. Uranus in Scorpio generation, this is going to be a little bit like Neptune, but it's going to induce a limitless-like state. So if you haven't seen the movie Limitless, or if you haven't seen the movie Lucy, the Jupiter over your Uranus and Scorpio is going to activate 30% more of your brain power than you actually do and integrate this with you. It's huge, actually. Is Divine RPG only being played by the Pluto, Scorp, Sag generations, or are Pluto, Libra, Virgo, Leo playing it too? Great question, Spiritual Remedies. Every generation is in this movie, is in this, you know, RPG. Great question, okay. I've heard Jupiter described as steam or hot gas, promising more than it will deliver. Will under delusion influences? Yes, naturally so, but it's less because of Jupiter and more because of Neptune's influence. You actually want to feed into this in a law of attraction way to where you hype things up to bigger than they are. So you aim for the stars, but you land in the clouds. That kind of energy, okay? How will Jupiter in Scorpio affect Uranus in Capricorn? It's going to sextile the Uranus in Capricorn and Neptune generation. So this is going to allow our generation, before Jupiter goes into Capricorn and fully awakens our psychic ability, we're going to get a sneak peek of how we can open the doorway, because this is going to be the first time in a long time it's coming around again. So you're going to find that Jupiter and Scorpio for that generation is in a position to now take the last 10 years of experience and really come into profound intuitive ways to express this. It's actually like the Uranus and Scorpio generation, but instead of Uranus and Scorpio that will access like 60% of their brain power, Uranus and Capricorn will access like 15% more of their brain power than usual to prepare for the conjunction, all right? Because there still needs to be release when it's in Sagittarius. But all right, how do you think this will affect the Pluto and Scorpio generation as a whole? I already answered that, Jennifer, but just to reiterate, this is going to allow us to fully unlock our true sexual mastery. Especially for those of you who are simultaneously having Saturn returns, this is it. This is what you've been waiting for. It's going to be difficult, but through that difficulty, you're going to gain the mastery you've been craving so much. Okay, so all right, thank you very much once again. Like I said, I'm going to get to those emails. I'm going to end the Q&A right now. But yes, y'all, I really hope you truly enjoyed this webinar. And the next webinar I will be doing is navigating the darkness. We're going to go into Pluto. And we're going to really go into a whole lot of how our unconscious minds influence the darkness within our hearts, and we'll see a touch of the intense. Regardless, y'all stay blessed, and until next time,